I'm Chris Thomas, and welcome to this special MasterClass series on fundamental and foundational techniques that you can work on while you are sheltering in place during a time of infection control and social distancing. In this lesson, we're going to look at front stance and the large movement of the hip. How to get into a front stance? Well, let's start with this. If you do a small frame horse stance, now if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and look at the preceding video, lesson number 1, which is on horse stance. Small frame horse stance has basically the same silhouette as a front stance. Front stances can be also small frame or large frame. When I'm doing Ryukyu Kempo, I tend to use large frame. When I'm doing Ishinryu, I tend to do small frame. When I do long weapons like bow, nunti bow, I tend to go large frame. Smaller weapons like the sai, I will tend to do smaller frame. Some people will also do extreme frame and really stretch that out. All of the rules are going to apply, but extreme frame is much more difficult to pull off. Most common mistake I see in people's front stance is this. Front knee pointing straight forward. If my front knee is pointing forward, that might be okay when I'm doing a straight punch. But when I do a reverse punch, what happens is the energy shifts over here. So the way to get your front stance correct is to start out by putting your hands up like you're driving a car. Now, if you do that, in this case, it's my left hand, but this would be the hand for a reverse punch, will be about level with the bottom of your armpit and just slightly inside. It won't be centered on your body, it will be over here, right? That's where your reverse punch goes. Take your front foot, point your front foot where your reverse punch goes. Then make sure that your knee is not going straight forward, but this is called closing the quad. This is the inguinal crease. So it's not just that my foot points here, but my entire leg points here. The back leg points straight forward. Now in this case, I will tend to use the big bone of my foot, which is the first metatarsal. And I'll drive that first metatarsal in a straight line forward. In a small frame stance, I may choose the second or third metatarsal, and then if I turn that in just a little teeny bit more towards the fifth metatarsal, and maybe turn that lead leg in a little more, then I'm in Sanchin stance. So this is a very subtle difference between a small frame front stance and Sanchin stance. So here I am in a large frame stance. I have the bone of my first metatarsal, the bone that comes off my big toe, pointing straight forward. And I begin this way. This is called the front-facing position. And then I'm going to rotate. This is the half-facing position, and then back again. Notice my head is not moving. So this is particularly in basic form. When you get more advanced, more comfortable with hip motion, there are some variations you can play around with, but this is the basic technique. Now, if you notice, my back leg is bending. When it's here, it's almost but not straight going forward, but if you look at the part from my knee to my heel, it doesn't move. So all of the bend is happening in the knee and the hip joint. There's no wobbling from side to side, this way. It's just bending nice and clean. Now let's look at the punch itself. Punch, when I go to do the straight punch, another mistake, people punch straight forward. It doesn't go forward. Turns out your power is right there. So when you're doing a forward motion and you go to punch, if your front stance is correct like this, your punch actually goes over here. It's in the same line as the reverse punch. See? This way. One more piece you need to master. This is actually the hardest one to get. It's the hand-hip timing. The rule goes like this. Hand precedes body. The body mostly is designed for work. The way our musculature is set up, it's designed for work. So our arms are actually built for pushing. However, from a survival standpoint, the capacity to throw enables us to engage an enemy or to take down an animal we're hunting at a great distance. And so throwing became a highly valued neurological aspect. But throwing and pushing aren't the same motion. Throwing involves a series of movements. It's called succession of forces with the goal of accelerating the hand. So it starts down here, but it goes hip, and then there's this sort of whipping motion that pulls the shoulder around, pulls the elbow, boom, and then you throw. And a lot of people then when they go to punch, they throw the punch this way. That's an incredibly weak punch. It's great for throwing things, terrible for punching. A punch is actually a directed, concentrated, rapid push, piercing push. Think of it that way. Think of a punch as a piercing push. If you've ever worked in a factory setting, think of it as a punch press, which uses a piston to drive down into the metal. You're driving forward. So you think about it that way, and now here's how you get the timing. The hand starts, I'm just going to show you the left hand right now. The hand starts here. And I'll notice my body hasn't moved. I'm like perfectly still. And then as my elbow clears, I usually wait till my elbow just clears my hip, then twist and drive. Okay, see that one? Boom, like this. This is difficult timing to get because you're retraining your nervous system, which is wired for throwing, but it really matches how your body works because your body skeletal mechanics is designed for this powerful pushing motion. Okay, see? Now, if I'm going to punch with the other hand, I'm going to take the same principle. I'm going to start moving my hand first, and as my elbow clears basically just past my hip, then I twist and drive. You see, so it goes one, boom, hand precedes body, boom, hand precedes body, boom, hand precedes body, boom, hand precedes body, boom. This takes a while. Be patient with yourself. I always just say it takes 3 years. The first year, you can't do it, or you can do it only sometimes. The second year, you can do it as long as you're thinking about it. And during the third year, you can do it without thinking. Practice this. It will improve your martial arts tremendously. I want to remind you that you can get access to a great deal more content that will help you to continue to grow as a martial artist during this difficult time. There's a special deal going on right now. If you subscribe for 1 year to MasterClass, you can get it instead of $299, only $159 for the entire year. Just when you sign up, use the special code Keep Training. That's all one word, and it's all in capital letters. So I'm Chris Thomas. Thanks for watching, and now go keep training.